All right. So let's begin with the pandas and let's continue with the pandas session. Let me first quickly import pandas. Today I'm going to use Jupyter Notebook. Let me quickly update pandas as PD. Let me quickly import pandas as PD. I believe that you guys are using Google Colab, so you will have to upload your insurance CSV once again. If you go to your folder, you will observe that there is no insurance file. The reason is that Google Colab will drop and delete all the files once you close that notebook or once you close the session. So you will have to re-upload your insurance file, and you will have to re-execute the line wherein you're reading the data frame. So data equals to pd.read CSV is something we would have done. So let's do that quickly and load the data in data frame so that we can continue with the rest of our functions. Okay. All right. So let me give you 1 minute to do that. And then today we'll continue with how do we read the data in Jupyter Notebook using the same function, which is pd.read CSV. Let me know once you have loaded your data frame and you are ready so that I can quickly help you out with the reading of data set in Jupyter Notebook. Ready? Data list is ready. Let's give a little bit of time to Subha as well. Okay. So both of you are done. Then in that case, please come back to my screen. I'm going to show you two ways of how to read data in Jupyter Notebook. See, there's a good chance you might use Jupyter Notebooks in your production. If you're working on cloud, you will be using Databricks notebooks. Jupyter and Databricks are more or less same. If you see, this Jupyter Notebook is present in a location, which is my desktop. Then I have a folder called as Innovit. Then within that, I have another folder called as C07_Python. So this is the July batch Python that I'm taking. So I generally give class and the name of the month, the number of the month followed by the batch. So we have all the files here. If I showcase my desktop, this will also be stored in my desktop. Based on where your Anaconda is installed or where your Jupyter Notebook is installed, that becomes your root directory. So for me, the root directory is the C drive. You can see all the folders which are present in my C drive, like contacts, desktop, documents, downloads, etc. Within which I have desktop. Within desktop, I have multiple batches, different classes, and then we have Innovit. From Innovit, we have C07 Python as well. Now, in the same folder structure where you have this Pandas notebook, what you can do is you can upload the CSV. So let me go to my, I think I should have it in my downloads. Let's check quickly. Downloads, do I have something called as insurance? Pension statistics, inch defaulters. Yes. So I will upload insurance here and then I will click on this upload. Let me repeat. In the same folder structure where I have my Pandas notebook where I'm planning to read this file, I will upload the insurance.csv. I'll go here, I'll click on upload, I'll select the file. Once I select the file, I'll get additional option where it will ask me for a confirmation here and I will click on that upload. So let me do that once again for you. For example, I do this. Once I upload, it's not uploaded. I will again have to click on this upload to confirm that I'm going to upload the file in the same folder location. I can see insurance.csv here. So now if I have, let's say, file is present in the same folder as that of my notebook. IPYNB is the extension for Jupyter Notebook. So yes, if I have the file which is present in the same folder location as this IPYNB, I can use the exactly same syntax which we have seen in your Google Colab. I can give the read.csv within quotes. I can give insurance.csv, and if you see, I can do data.head, and I will have the data which is loaded. See, in case of Google Colab or in case of Jupyter Notebook, since both of these notebooks had access to the folder structure, in Google Colab, you see you have uploaded the data and it is present in the exact same folder location where you have your Jupyter Notebook. Similarly, in this Pandas notebook, what I have is I have the file insurance.csv present in the exact same folder location where I have the Pandas notebook. So this notebook will be easily able to access the file if they are present in the same at the same node inside the file directory. Because Pandas is here, insurance is here, it can automatically access any file which is present in this folder. Now the question that comes to your mind is, what if I do not have the file here? File is present in some custom location. If the file is present in any custom location, what you can do is, let me do this, data is equals to pd.read_csv. Let me in fact share my entire screen so that you can see. Okay. And within this read CSV, what I'm going to do is, I am going to, let me comment this out so that we can re-execute this code. I am going to give the exact custom folder location. Okay, if you have a file which is present in a different folder location, let me open this downloads folder in my system. And if I go to downloads, if I go here, I have insurance file here. What I can do is I can give this custom location. I'll go to the properties. If you know your system well and good. If you do not know, you can go to properties and get the location. It's in my C drive, in the users folder, in computers, in downloads. I'll copy this location. Basically, what I'm trying to do is I am trying to actually give the exact location. See users, downloads, and then I can give, let's say, insurance.csv. The moment I execute this, I will have an error saying there's a Unicode error. Okay, so I can give a small r here. The reason you're getting a Unicode error here is because backslash is a special character in Python. Okay, backslash means that skip the next character. But what I want to tell is I want to tell Python that everything which is included inside this code is a folder location. You have to read everything. You don't have to skip anything. The moment I give R, the data is read. And again, you have your data.in. So you can give custom location. Whenever you're giving custom location, it's always recommended to use R before the string to indicate to Python that please take the string as it is. Sometimes what happens is backslash, which is treated as a special character. What happens whenever you want some special character, you want some code to be used, you will use backslash, okay, to tell Python or to tell the interpreter that, okay, this is a special character, skip this character. This is called as the backslash is known as the skip character in Python. It says whatever you're following D, you have to skip this and read the rest of the stuff. But since I don't want to use this as a skip character, what I'm trying to use is my folder structure or the root node tree that I'm trying to parse here. So I will give something called as R, and this R will make this string as a whole. It will tell Python do not skip, end to end treat it as a single string, because of which Python will be able to go inside my C drive, users, whatever location I'm doing. So in case of custom location, you can give the exact location where that file is executed and it will work. Okay, so I will share this notebook with you. Do not worry, so that you are aware when you're how to read different. Once you actually, in fact, whenever you do it the next time in Jupyter Notebook, one time you need to do, and you will be very clear with what we are doing. Now, let's now go ahead and look data.head. Everyone should have data.head loaded into their systems. The data frame should be available. We will now go ahead and look at a new functionality. We would have looked at value counts in the last session. Today, we are going to start with a new feature called as group by. Now, generally, people, I'm not sure, is SQL done for you? Are you aware about what group by is? If not, we can do a quick session on what group by is. If you are already aware, we can directly delve into the syntax. Okay. Okay, so let me assume that you are not aware about what group by is. Now, group by is, as the name suggests, is a concept which is very famous in SQL, and it's very famous in Pandas. Basically, it's a concept which is used extensively for data processing and understanding. So let me give you an example. Do I have any Excel open? Okay, I do have. So what I'm going to do is, let me zoom in a little bit. Let me take a dummy data set here. Okay, I'm going to say, let's say, let me say city, and let me say salary. So I have the salary of different people in different cities. Let me take a couple of cities. Let's say we start with Bangalore. Then we have Mumbai. Let's say we have Delhi. And let's say we have Chennai. Then we have another person who's from Chennai. Then one person from Mumbai, one more person from Mumbai, one person from Delhi, one more person from Delhi, then three people from Bangalore. See, this is a database, right? So you can have different cities, and this is the salary of people in different cities. Okay. And let me say Delhi. I'm going to give certain salary. Let me say salary of, or let's not even say salary. Let me use something such as what can we take? Should I take salary? Let me take salary, and let me take one more thing. In fact, I'm going to say these people's we have salary, we have designations, employee ID, employee names. Okay, let's take salary itself. Let me first create salary random between, let's say, 25,000 and let's say 1 lakh. Okay, so what I have is this is the information. This is employee information. In different cities, what are the salaries of these people? Person one belongs to city Bangalore and has salary of 69K. Mumbai has this, Delhi has this. Okay. Now let's say what you want to do is you want to see two things. The first thing that you want to see is what are the total, or let's say average salaries in Bangalore, and let's talk about this. I want to see the output in this format, city and average salary. Okay, so I want to see average salary, let's say minimum salary, I want to see maximum salary, and I want the count of people based on which this data is presented. All right, these are the four things that I want to check. Is this possible? This can be an analysis at any point of time, right? So what I want is I want city, which is Bangalore, then I want Delhi. Let's go alphabetically. Then let's say, okay, then alphabetically comes Chennai, followed by Delhi, followed by Bangalore. Bangalore is done, then Mumbai. Okay. Now I want for every city, based on the data that you have, I have data of about 14, 15 people, which along with their city and salary, I want to know what is the average salary of Bangalore. What will you do, people? What will you do? You will say, okay, let's take all the people from Bangalore. Okay, you will take, there are three people from Bangalore, and then you will calculate their average salary. Is that true? What have we done here? We have grouped the people, we have grouped the data by city. And then I am calculating the average salary. Let me repeat, what did I do? I grouped my data on the basis of what? On the basis of city. And what I'm doing, I am aggregating the information. What is aggregating? It means I had multiple rows. For Bangalore itself, if you look, I would have multiple rows. What I wanted to do is I want to know one simple thing, what is the minimum salary? Right. So if I go there, or the average salary or the maximum salary, see, the moment I do a group by, the moment I group the data on the basis of city, it means I am converting this data into a group by object, where for each city that I have, since I have grouped by city, for every city that I have, I'm going to get one aggregated output. So whenever you want to perform any aggregation such as average, minimum, find maximum, find the total count, any kind of aggregating function that you want to execute on a particular group, you will use group by. So here I'm going to group by city, and I can calculate at a city level, what is the average value, what is the minimum salary, what is the maximum salary, and so on. Now, what I'm going to do is, let's quickly go to our notebook. Let's quickly go to our notebook and see how do we perform this group by in Jupyter? Now, what I want to do is, let's say I want to know, let's do one by one, right? The first thing that I want to know is region wise, I want to know. Okay, I want to know region wise what are the total counts. We have used value counts, right? We have already used value counts. Let's do region wise. I want to check average charges. This is something which you might be interested in. Of course, you might be interested in. You have 4 regions. We have already seen in the last session that when you calculate value counts, you will get it's kind of a group by for count. And if you look at value counts, there you would have grouped by region and then you would have taken the total count. Here, what I want to do is I want to know what is the average charge region wise. What I can do, I can say data, I can give the name of the column, let's say region. I want to group by my region, right? I want to group my regions. And after grouping, what I want to do is, wait, no, not like this, data dot group by. I will mention the name of the column. I want to group by region. After this, what I want to do is I want the charges dot average. In Pandas, you will use the function called as mean. So what I'm doing, I'm saying that take this entire data set within the data frame data, group the data by region. That means for every region, I need one value. The aggregate function that I'm applying is called as mean. So what this will give me, class? This will give me at a region level, it has grouped all northeast records and it has calculated the mean of all the northeast charges. It has calculated northwest and it has calculated the average charges in northwest. If you want, you can manually, in fact, check it out. But what group by will do, it will group all the northeast values records together. And for those values, it will aggregate the charges and give you the average value. Similarly, what I can do is I can apply other functions. I can also apply count. I can say, get me the count. The moment you do count, you will get the exact same value as your value counts. Or if you want, you can also apply a minimum function. What this minimum function will do, class? This minimum function will give you, after grouping the entire data on the basis of region, for every region, what is the minimum charge? You can calculate the maximum charge as well. So these are the 4 most famous or let's say most used aggregate functions where you can see I can calculate at a region level what is my average charge. I can look at the total counts of charges that will give me the region-wise distribution. In Pandas, this is a very common function. So instead of using this, you can also use value counts. Internally, value counts does exactly this thing. Then you have minimum at a group level. It will group all the regions together. So northeast, all northeast values will be grouped together and it will identify what is the minimum at a region level. Similarly, at a region level, it will identify for each region what is the maximum value. Now, this is a very important factor because a lot of times when you are working on data interpretation, you will want to group the data and see different values. Now, I have mentioned region-wise average charges. Right? So, intuitively, it will come to your mind. I should also see what is the gender-wise average charges. Is there some insight hidden where the gender plays a role in the charges? Does male or female anyone have more charges as compared to the other? Does smoker flag have any influence on this? See, if you look at the region mean charges, what do you observe? The charges are more or less similar. They range from 12,346 and go up to 1473. It's not a very major difference. It is. I can say Southwest seems to be slightly cheap as or has low charges as compared to Southeast. This is a small insight, but the difference is not very huge. More or less, they are very similar. Right? If you look at the minimum values, the minimum values is also very similar. The maximum values also seem to be very similar. So you can interpret from this that, okay, region might not have a huge impact on charges. So what else can? Can gender have some impact? Do you want to check? So go ahead, after you do these 4 aggregate functions, let's just focus on mean and calculate the average charges by grouping by gender and then grouping by smoker flag, and let me know your insight. I need insight from you guys. Okay, I have given you one insight that based on the region, we do not have a very huge difference. Calculate the group average charges on the basis of gender. Calculate the average charges at a smoker level. And let me know, do you think any of these things have any impact? Okay, let me repeat. Meanwhile, you can start making note of these codes, try it out. Let me zoom out a little bit. What we are looking at is called as a group by function. This function is a very useful function and you will use extensively. It can be in SQL. People who are aware about SQL, it's very straightforward. What I have done in terms of SQL, if you're not done, maybe in future you will study it. But what I have done is select region, comma, average charges from data group by region is what I have done. This is the analogous SQL query. If this table was in SQL and you were executing SQL queries to process this data, you would have done something like this. But Pandas, it's slightly more friendly in comparison of programming. So what you do is you use the function called as group by. You apply this function on your entire data frame. This function takes as input the name of the column on the basis of which you want to group. And then it takes after this, right? See this, the charges column or the aggregate function is outside group by. Okay, so you apply after grouping this data, you apply an aggregate function and you name the column, and after the column you can say dot mean, dot count, dot min, or dot max. What it does is it will give you the information by aggregating data at the by the column that you have grouped by. So if you do region, it will give you the average charges for every region. Similarly, you can calculate the total number of records. You can calculate the minimum value at a region level. You can calculate maximum value at a region level. Let me know if you have any questions. Let me know if you have any doubt. If not, let's quickly do this and intuitively look at the average charges at a gender and region level. I don't want the numbers. Do not give me the output that this is the output. Let me know what is your interpretation. For example, I said that if I look at regions, more or less the average charges are very similar. What is your interpretation or what is the insight that you can get from gender and from smoker flag? One line insight. Class, let me know if you did not understand anything. If you have any question, you can put it in the chat. You can unmute yourself and ask. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, I do not see any insight in the chats. No one was able to perform the group by at the gender or smoker level. No insight. Okay, let me do this then. Let us use. I'm going to group by gender, and I'm going to calculate what is the average charges. The moment I do this, I see that female average charges is 12,569 rupees, and for male, the average charges is around 13,956. I do not see there is 1,500 rupees gap. It's not a very huge gap, but yeah, there is certain gap. I can say that the premium charges for female is slightly less than that compared to a male. But let's see what happens in case of a smoker flag. Let's see if a person is smoking and if a person does not smoke. And here you go. This is a very good insight. Can you see everyone? When I group by the smoker flag, it says that people who do not smoke, for them, the average premium is 8,500 rupees approximately. And for people who smoke, the average charges is 33,000. There is a 4 times difference. Right? There is approximately 4 times difference in the premium charges if you compare the average from person who does not smoke to the average of a person who smokes. This is a good insight. You should be happy. Okay, your data you started to getting, you can say the region does not have an impact on charges. More or less, the charges, average charges are same. If you look at the gender level, the average charges are same. If you look at the smoker flag level, you have an insight, a very strong one that you can now understand, and that makes business sense as well, right? It will make business sense because if you see people who are old, people who are very aged, who have history of illnesses, who have potential in potentially historically it says you might get a disease, then the premium is obviously going to be high. Yes, did you try this? Do you want to make a note of this? Let me know if you have tried this or you are trying this or is there any confusion. I am grouping by gender and calculating the average charges. I want to group by smoker and calculate the average charges. You can also try out min, max, and count if you want. Okay, it's time that I pointed out now Subhalakshmi and Trimilesh. Let me know, are we good with the group by concept? Are we clear? Or do we have any questions? Simple why would also be sufficed. That is also good for me. If there is any question, feel free to ask. You want me to go through the topic again, that also you can let me know. Linked, let's keep the session interactive. All right, then in that case, let's move ahead with the next topic. See, we have now grouped by just one at one column. That is just one level. But that does not mean that you cannot group by multiple levels. Let's say I want to see the data which is grouped by at multiple levels. Let's say I'm going to say data.group by. Oh, thank you so much. I get 1 yes. That works for me. See, let's say I want to look the data after grouping at multiple levels. I want to group at, let's say, first I want to group at region, then I want to group at gender, and then I want to perform my grouping at smoker level. So what I want to do is I want to see in every region, for every gender, and for every smoker flag, I want to see what is my average charges. So I'm going to put charges and I'm going to do dot mean. Now I am going to take examples of mean. You can use min, max, count, anything. Moment I do this, method object is not susceptible because group by function takes as input a single list. So for multiple columns, you will use 2 square brackets. Okay, I don't think so. It's a function, a list of, okay, a list, okay, it does not take double bracket, but single bracket. It's a function that takes the list of columns on the basis of which you want to group. Now, what do you see here? You see at a region, gender, and smoker flag level, you have calculated the average charge. It's not at a single level, at its multiple levels. So for the region Northeast, you will see female, male. For female, you have no yes. For male, you have no yes. And the same thing continues. So this information will give you a combined average charge at region, gender, and smoker level. Okay. So if you want to use multiple columns, you can do multiple columns. And after looking at this particular data, I think I can say that the minimum, or let's say the minimum number of, is this one? No, it's this one. So a male from Southeast, a non-smoker male from Southeast has minimum premium. And if I see 36 from the same region, a male who smokes has the highest premium. So what you can do is you can take an insight. Okay, your Southeast in general, you see that the average charges in Southeast has been a little bit on the higher side. It's always been on the higher side. Yeah, and you can also confirm that the minimum and maximum both charges are present in the Southeast region, both for male, wherein you can see a Southeast male who does not smoke has minimum average charge, and for Southeast males who smoke, the charges are the highest. That means Southeast is on the higher side as compared to other regions, that too male. Right? So you can take this insight. Now coming to the question, can I see this data in a beautiful format? Oh, of course you can. Before I do that, I'll give you 1 minute to, I will give you 1 minute to make a note of this. Try this out. Grouping the data at multi-column level. Oh, see, I see, Vinay, you have joined the class. We have 20 more minutes before we end this session, but what we can do is, can you quickly open a Google Colab and load the data again, upload the data again, read it in the data frame again. And I think this is the last part of our group by. We will continue with the sort by function within 5 minutes. We'll start with the sort function within 5 minutes. You can go through the session recording for the group by concept and let me know if you have any questions in the next session. Meanwhile, you can load the data in the data frame and see that you have data inside data. For others, try this code out. You can have at only 2 levels, region and gender. You can check region and smoker or all 3. It's up to you. Play around. If you're done, play around. The more you practice, the better programmer you become. So why don't I keep parentheses for charges? See, group by is a function. The parentheses are associated with group by. This group by function ends here. Group by function will only take as input the columns on the basis of which you want to group by. Charges.mean is something which you are applying on this particular group by. See, let me show you. Right? Whenever you do a group by, data frame would internally create a group by object. Okay, it has created a data frame group by object. On this object, what I am doing is I am simply saying from this object, take the charges column and give me the mean of this column. Apply the function mean on this group by object. So the function ends here. The function itself ends here. After the function, you say whatever data frame group by object that you have created, return me this column after calculating its mean. Then what you get is the average output. See, if you take any, okay, let me tell you this. Let's take data. Let me take charges. Okay, and I can simply say calculate the mean. Mean is a function which directly applies on a column. Mean is a function that directly applies on the column. It does not require a group by object. But when you create a group by object, what happens is it will create this object. And then you're saying from this object, from this data frame, wherein you have grouped the data on the basis of region, gender, and smoker, apply mean on this particular data. Take the column charges, apply mean. But now this data frame group by object is not exactly same as data. Here the data is grouped on this level. That is why this is what selection of the column, and on this column you apply the function. You can directly apply this function mean on any column. Here we are first grouping and then apply. Does that answer your question, Subhalakshmi? Great. Okay. Now with that, what I'm going to do is, you would see that it's very difficult to read this data, right? In order to find out, trust me, I already knew that Southeast male and Southeast child, it could quickly glance, but sometimes you would have very huge outputs wherein it's very difficult to look at each and every number. See, the idea of programming languages, it should make our job easier. Right? We will learn a programming language only if it makes our job easier. But if I have to go through the entire list and still manually identify which is the minimum and maximum, then that's not good. So what I would do is I would convert this particular group by object into a data frame. Okay, and how can I do that? I'm now, see, the function that we are going to talk about in the next 2 minutes is not exactly used for this purpose. The purpose of the function is to reset the index. Okay, its purpose is to reset the index. The moment I use this function, what it does is reset index is a function that will reset your index in a increasing number starting from 0. So it sets your index values from 0, 1, and so on. Okay. So what is reset index? Reset index is nothing but it's a function that will reset your index values from 0, 1. Now you might have a question, why do I want to reset my index? Give me 5 more minutes, this question will be answered as well. But for the time being, if you see that you have some data set which is not in a tabular format, this is called as a turnaround, wherein you can use this function and use it to convert our data into a data frame. So the next question that you ask me is, what is the use? What I'm going to do is, let me create data underscore group by, a new data frame, and assign this group by object. Okay. Data underscore group by. So you see this is the data frame which has been created, data underscore group by. Now class, let's mix it up a little bit. I'm going to sort the data frame, sort the values in ascending order. What I'm going to do is, I'm going to sort this data dot group by. The function name is called as sort values, group by, and whatever, data underscore group by. And I'm going to sort this value with the help of the function sort underscore values. If you have not created data underscore group by, you can directly apply this on the data frame data. Okay, and this function sort values will take as input the column names on the basis of which you want to sort your data. Okay, so let's say I want to sort my data on the basis of a column called as charges. So you give by equals to, and then you can give the list of all the columns on the basis of which you want to perform the sorting. So let me say charges. The moment I do this, I want everyone to pay attention and see what is going to happen. What I have done is I have taken this group by object wherein I had calculated the average charges on a region, gender, and smoker level. The data frame that I got or the output that I got was not very visually appealing. It was very difficult for me to actually start looking what is minimum, what is maximum. So what I do is first I apply a reset index. It converted my output into a proper data frame. Then I assigned it to data underscore goodbye. This is my new data frame wherein I have the data at region, gender, smoker level, and I have the average charges. And then what I'm doing is I am sorting my values by, I'm sorting the data frame by charges. The moment I do this, two things that you will observe. First of all, I clearly get, I don't have to worry. The first value that you see is the value of minimum charges. I can say now Southeast male who do not smoke have the minimum charges. I can go down to the last and say that Southeast male have the maximum charges. See, my manual work was saved. Did you observe anything else? In this data frame, is there any other observation which might be worth mentioning? Let me give you a hint. Look at the index values. What has happened there? It says that Southeast male, no. This value is present at the 10th index. If you go back to your original data frame data group by, at the 10th index, you have this particular value. It's the exact same value. On index 10, you have Southeast male and 7609 as the value. This is your original data frame, right? Once I sort the values, what happens is it will also sort your index values. Do you see that your indexes are not jumbled up? If they are not jumbled up, rather what data the pandas data frame does is it will bring the entire row up. And when the entire row is coming in the first position, it does not say this is the 0th index. It was the 10th index. It will also bring the index up. It will bring the entire row. When I say the entire row, it means everything including your index value. So now it says that your 10th index is what? Southeast male now. So the index is actually retained while you are sorting. It does not reset the index. After this, if I apply reset index, right, which I don't want you to do, I'm just going to show this. If now I apply reset index, you will see this was the original index and Panda says, okay, if you want indexing, this can be the actual index. It's up to you. I will retain my original index in a column called as index. But if I do reset index, the internal row numbers would or row indices would be reset and they would be set from 0 to 1. So reset index is basically used to reset the index, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it right now like this because we are going to learn a couple of more concepts on this. So let me do a quick revision. What did we do? We did a group by at a region, smoker, and gender level, calculated the average charges, assigned it to a new data frame called as data underscore group by, applied the reset index so that the group by object looks in a more data frame tabular format. Once I had this group by object, I performed an ascending sort wherein the first value gave me the minimum value and the last value gave me the maximum value. I would say, let's quickly try this out. What I'm going to do is, for your benefit, I am going to remove the, let me remove the output. So that you can see the output yourself. So that you can see the codes in one go for your reference. Let's say these are the two codes. Let's quickly try this out.
Ankit, is that group wise a fixed function or predefined function which we used?
So all the functions that we are going to see for data frame are predefined functions that are defined in the package pandas. Your group by, sort values, value counts, all these functions are predefined functions within pandas.
Okay, actually, I used data underscore group by dot sort values by
Yes.
charges. So in that case, it is showing data group by is not defined.
So do you have any data frame called as data underscore group by? See,
No.
data underscore group by is a variable. How I had defined data, right? This is a variable which has a new data frame that comes after you execute this code. So what I did is on the original data, I have grouped by certain columns. I have calculated the average mean and I have done reset index, right? So,
Okay.
okay,
Got it.
and
Got it.
then I assigned it to a new variable data underscore group by. That's why I said you try it on data directly, data dot sort values. The function
Okay.
got it, right?
Yeah. Perfect. I got.
Class, okay. This is the function that helps you to sort the data in ascending order. Let's say you want to sort the data in descending order. What will you do? I'm going to use the same function, group. I'm going to use the same function, dot sort values. But there's an additional parameter that I have to give. I'll give by is equals to, let's say, charges. And then well, after this, there's a parameter called as ascending. And I'm going to give ascending is equals to false. Again, remember, ascending is a parameter that will take a value Boolean. Boolean means true or false. In Python, true or false always starts with a capital T and a capital F. So the moment you give ascending is equals to false, you will see that I have got an error because I'm not given by. You will see that the data is sorted in the descending order. So what does it mean? It means that the parameter ascending by default is always true. If you do not mention anything in the function sort values, the value of ascending is always true. If you want to sort in the descending order, what will you do is you will initialize the value of the parameter ascending as false. Sort the values in descending order. Let's quickly try this out as well. And then I'm going to show you a very interesting thing after this. So the interesting thing that I'm going to show you is class. If now again I go back and check my data underscore group by, it's the same data frame on which I had applied my sort values. You see that the data frame is intact. You applied sort values. The output that you get in both the cases, if I do it on the ascending order, if I do it on the descending order, in both the cases, I can see the output. But my data frame, which was the original data frame, is intact. What does it mean? It means that the function sort values does not touch your internal data frame. It does not actually modify the data frame. So what does it do then in that case? Let me quickly see if I can share the whiteboard. Can I share the whiteboard? Okay. So I want everyone to please pay attention to this screen. What I'm trying to say is, see, you would have observed that the function sort values has not impacted or has not touched the original data frame. I have a data frame, let's me call it as data, which is present in the memory somewhere, right? It's present definitely in the memory somewhere. Let's say this was a data frame. I applied data dot, let's say, sort values, whatever I applied, right? Sort values on the rest of the code. I got an output that was sorted. Right? I had a sorted output. But if you observe, the actual data frame was not changed. What Pandas did it just sorted the values and showed me the sorted output. Okay, it has simply shown me the sorted output. It did not make any changes in the data frame. Your actual data frame is always intact. So what if I want to change my actual data frame? There are two ways. First of all, you can assign this to a new value saying data underscore sorted. You can obviously do that, right? You can create a new object altogether. The second way is there is a parameter called as in place is equals to true. And let me give you a very strict warning. In place is equals to true, this parameter will make changes in the data frame. It will change your actual data frame, the underlying data frame. So use this parameter very, very carefully because once you make the changes, this permanently changes your data frame. You won't be able to get back your original data. So always whenever you are doing certain analysis, you want to make changes to a data frame, I would always recommend go with this concept so that your original data frames are always intact. If you see what we have done, even when I was trying to do a group by, right? Even when I was trying to do a group by, I assigned it to a new data frame. I assigned it to a new data frame so that my actual data is kept intact. See, this is what I did, right? I have applied, I processed the data, I have done some manipulation, and then I have assigned it to a new data frame. But my data is intact. If you look at data, it's going to be intact. Similarly, what you can do is you can assign it to a new data frame. That's the best way. However, if you want to make changes to the same, if you want to make changes to the same object, you can always do in place is equals to true. And the moment I do in place is equals to true, see, it did not give me any output. In place equals to true does not give me any output because it will go and make the changes in the actual data frame. Now, if I look at data underscore group by, you will see here this data underscore group by will now be the sorted data in the descending order. So be very careful whenever you use in place equals to true. Either assign the output data frame to a new variable. And if you're planning to make changes to the actual data frame, the underlying data frame, I would say first you execute your codes by excluding in place equals to true. You see if you're getting the desired output. Only then you go ahead and make changes to this particular data frame. Let me repeat. Whenever, excuse me. Excuse me. Whenever you make changes to a data frame, specifically by sort values, what happens is it will simply give you the output. It will show you the output. If you see, if I do this, you will see this output. This output does not mean that the actual data frame is changed. The actual data frame is still intact. If I want to make changes to my actual data frame, I can always use a parameter called as in place is equals to true. this parameter goes and makes changes in the actual data frame. It will sort the values and store it back in the same data frame. Be very careful, because once you do this, it means that you have lost the actual data and you will not be able to get back your original data. There are ways, obviously you can again sort on the basis of the index, but let's say if you do dot reset index here as well, then the data is lost, right? So be very careful when you use in place equals to true. It will change and modify your underlying data frame. All right. So with that, I think we are dot on time. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll give you a couple of minutes to make note of in place equals to true. Please add a comment. In place is equals to true makes permanent changes in the underlying data frame. If you are good, then feel free to drop off. If you have any questions, I'm here for another 1 or 2 minutes. Let me know. The next session, we will see the difference between ILOC, LOC. We will learn about joins. I think joins, it will take some more session. We'll learn about filtering and joins most of that. Saturday evening. Cool. See a couple of chats. Yes, definitely, Vinay. Feel free to let me know on Saturday if you have any questions. We can take that in the first 10 minutes. Same, it goes for everyone, in fact. Have any questions? We can look at it. I hope you're enjoying this session. I hope you're enjoying the Pandas session. We are actually looking at and working on some real-time data so that we know the functions and we also know what is the objective. Okay, we just don't want to know, okay, sort values will sort the functions, but how do we interpret the data? That is something which is, I think, the crux of Pandas. So with that, thank you, everyone. Hope to see you on Saturday. Bye-bye. Bye-bye and good night.